and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi, my name is Anna, and honestly, I am surprised I still remember my introduction because I haven't filmed a video in 1 month, people. I know I've been very inconsistent this year, but that is because I started working, then I stopped working, but I have so many exams, and they are very difficult exams, they are important, so I am pouring my heart and soul into studying, unfortunately, and that is why I just don't really have time to film. I am still reading, I'm writing, it just doesn't really leave time to film YouTube videos because they are so long. You know, I take a long time to film YouTube because I have to get ready, I put a little bit of makeup on, and then I take my time filming because I also don't really, it's not like I don't know how to speak, it's more I am not eloquent, and with that comes a lot of mistakes. That's why I have to repeat many times what I'm saying, and I know, of course, I'm not alone in this. A lot of people that film also feel that way, but I am here with a new video. I finally do have time to film. I don't know how consistent I am going to be. I'm not going to promise to film or post a video every single week like I used to because sometimes it is really just not possible. But I am here and that is all that matters. And for this video, I'm going to be talking about all the books I read in March and my April TBR. I do understand that it is currently the 9th of April, so I am a little bit late, but nonetheless, let us chat about all the books I read in March. So like I said, I have been busy. I have been reading, but that also means that I have been reading less. So I don't really have a big March wrap up for you guys. But there were 2 books that I did start in March, but I only finished in April. So I'm not going to count those here for the March wrap up. But the first book that I did finish was White Nights by Fyodor Dostoevsky. I do have, you know, this big tome that has a lot of short stories from Dostoevsky. And honestly, I think it is quite overhyped. I don't really understand why people love White Nights so much. I do still think that Crime and Punishment is his best work so far from what I've read. I don't know. I still have not read Brothers Karamazov, and honestly, I'm a little bit intimidated by that one particular book because I do understand that it is quite religious, and I am not a religious person, so I don't know how I'm going to feel about that one. But when it comes to White Nights, the one thing that I did enjoy was the conversation about dreamers, because these are 2 people and they are obsessed with dreaming. You know, they meet one night, these 2 people, this man and a woman, they meet and they fall in love in the first night, and then they start meeting. I think it's for 5 nights I think they meet, and they just continuously fall in love, and they also talk about life in general and how being a dreamer has really helped them in the sense of facing life, because I connected so much with that part of the book because I am a dreamer myself. You know, I love daydreaming. I am always constantly creating scenarios in my mind because the real world sucks, literally, and that is what Dostoevsky tells us. You know, with this one character, he's talking to this love interest. I think her name is Nashtenka, but I don't know if that's, you know, how you pronounce it, but I think that's her name, and he is just talking, you know, about how he uses dreams to escape his real life, and in consequence of that, he hasn't lived life, and for the first time, he actually feels alive because he's falling in love with her. He loves being with her. He says that, you know, she really has helped him see how he has just wasted his years because he just keeps daydreaming. He keeps daydreaming about different scenarios, how his life can be, and how just all of these multiple options that he has inside of his mind, inside of his imagination. And because he's always in his imagination and creating all of these worlds and all of these lives, the real world actually seems very insipid to him. It seems colorless. It's just, you know, gray. It has no color. It has no life to it. It's just boring. And not only that, you know, the people suck. Literally, people suck. Life sucks, and it's just so much better to live inside your head, and I could relate to that like no other, because I don't want to say that, of course, I haven't wasted my entire life like this one character, but sometimes I do daydream way too much, and I do stay in my mind too much, and it really makes it hard to live life, because you're just constantly thinking how your mind is better, you know, how living inside of your dreams, how you can just imagine so many possibilities, and in real life, it's just scary. It's scary to live life, especially right now in these times. It is quite scary, actually, so I really enjoyed that one part, but the romance, it wasn't really my thing. I did enjoy it, and I do like Nashtenka's story as well, but the way that it ended was really sad. It was really sad, and nobody's surprised. It's Dostoevsky, okay? It's never going to end well for these 2 characters, so of course their love story is quite short. 4 nights or 5, I still don't remember, but that's why I do think it is a little bit overhyped, because it wasn't anything special. I don't really understand how some people said that this book changed their lives and it was just amazing. It's one of the greatest love stories told. I don't think so, and that is why I ended up giving it 4 stars. It's still solid and I still would recommend it, but it's just not that amazing. And I also did finish the 13th Tale by Diane Setterfield, and I actually enjoyed this book quite a lot, and this surprised me because I mainly read fantasy, and this is maybe a mystery. I'm going to classify it as a mystery, not really a thriller, more of a mystery. And it's such a weird story, but I really enjoyed this author's writing. I think the way that she described, how books can change lives, and how she described also everything that was around these characters, the buildings, the countryside. Stunning 10 out of 10. I absolutely loved this, and I also gave it 4 stars because the middle did drag on a little bit. But if you do love mysteries and weird mysteries with some weird families, you're absolutely going to love this, because in this book we follow a young woman, and I forgot her name. Literally, I forgot the main character's name. I am so sorry, but we follow this young woman, and she lives with her father, and she helps her father manage their old bookshop, because they do sell very old antique books, and that's just how she spends her days, helping her dad in the bookshop. But she does have a hobby, and that hobby is writing biographies on dead authors, authors that have passed away. She has their works and a little bit of essays about their lives, so she just likes writing biographies for fun. And in this fictional world, we do have a very famous author, which is Vida Winter. She has written amazing novels, everybody loves them, but she is a very mysterious woman, because every time she gives an interview, she never talks about her past. She never talks about her life. Nobody really knows anything about her. Her name is not even really Vida Winter, so she's a very mysterious woman, as you can tell, and she writes a letter to our protagonist asking for her to come to her house so she can tell her life story. She wants our protagonist to write her biography, which it's kind of weird, because our protagonist, she's like, I write biographies on dead people, not people who are alive. And not only this, we do also have a layered mystery, because this author, Vida Winter, is famously known for her 13 tales. The problem is the 13th tale was not written. It was published, but all of the pages were white. There was just nothing in it, so nobody knows what the 13th tale actually was. And of course, our main character is also going to find that out. And let me tell you, this mystery, it was crazy. It was crazy because the way this life's author was insane. It was just weird. Like, it really is weird, because we follow this Englefield family. Everything started with the Englefield family, and you can already tell that they are just weird people. They are weird, they are set to their own ways, and it's a story also about generational trauma and how you can pass down that trauma without really knowing, and the consequences of not wanting to heal or wanting to grow and become a better person. Not only that, how neglect can truly affect children, because of course this is a generational tale. So the children from the Englefield family, they were always weird, and the reason why they were weird is because they were neglected when they were young. They didn't have love. They didn't even know what love was from their parents. They were always testing boundaries on what can I do, what can't I do, what is acceptable, what is not acceptable. And unfortunately, this family, because they neglected their children so much, their children grew to be quite horrible people. Like, they were really, because they just didn't really understand the concept of boundaries, And we also have the twin trope. And if you do love weird twins, because these twins, let me tell you, they are weird. They just have weird behaviors. You're also going to enjoy this book, especially because the author does talk a lot about how having a twin is kind of like having a soulmate, how you just feel complete, and how without that one person by your side, you just kind of feel like an amputee, or like a normal person, you would say. And I just absolutely loved all of the themes, how everything was discussed. I really loved how the mystery also unfolded, and how we could just join all of the pieces together. It was really, really fun, and I just do not regret reading this. I'm really enjoying just reading outside of my comfort zone. It's been really fun, and I really do want to continue with it. So now, moving on to my April TBR, like I said, I did finish 2 books in April, and one of them was Iron Crown. I was quite excited for this one. I did end up a little bit disappointed, I'm not going to lie, but I'm going to talk more in depth about it in my April wrap-up. And it also started in March, I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jenna McCurdy. I do have my copy from my public library, and I also finished this in April, and let me say, I am genuinely surprised that I did not mind reading a biography, which was very, very weird, because I actually thought I was going to have a hard time, but I did not. I am also currently reading The Scholar and the Last Fairy Door, and I do not remember the author's name, but it's going to be here. And this one is some sort of like fantasy dark academia, and I am 41% through this book, so I am quite, in the middle ground, but I don't want to talk too much about it because, again, April wrap-up, but I am enjoying it. It's not going to be anything special or a new favorite by any means, but it's still pretty enjoyable. And like I said, because I am being quite spontaneous with my reading, I don't really have an April TBR set, but there is one book that I do want to read in April, which is Why I Love Horror. And this is a collection of essays from many different authors that I think write in the horror genre. This is nonfiction, which is also a part of the challenge for this year of reading 2 books that are nonfiction. And I'm very excited for this one, actually, because I love horror. I don't know if I've talked about it here, which is a little bit strange because I don't read that many horror books. And the reason for that, I think it's because I just haven't found a 5-star, horror book. I don't know why. So many premises seem interesting, but I just can never find, that one 5-star book. I haven't read, a lot of Stephen King, so maybe I should try that one, because he is a classic author for a reason. So maybe I should read more of his works. But what particularly, drew me into this one book, it's because I used to be a scaredy cat. Now, I don't know how many years back, but I'm going to say, when I was 18, 19, 20, I was very afraid of horror. I did not like watching horror movies. I did not like listening to horror stories because I just couldn't sleep at night. Like, I always thought that those stories were going to come to life. I was also very interested. And so what I did was, baby steps. I just tried seeing a few horror movies here and there, hearing a few, just folk tales and just horror stories in general. And honestly, I just became desensitized. I don't know what other word to use. I just got used to it, and I can sleep really well at night because most of them are just stories, they're not going to happen in real life. Although I do have to say, I still have trouble sleeping whenever we talk about ghost stories because those stories are different in the sense of, first of all, it's a ghost. What the hell am I supposed to do in defeating a ghost? Like, you can't defeat a ghost. You just have to leave and move out, And even then, it might follow you. So when it comes to ghost stories, I think the reason why I'm still a little bit, nervous to watch them, it is because of that, because I don't know how to defeat a ghost if it happens to me, and because it can literally happen to anyone, So the horror stories that I do prefer to consume are, for example, haunted objects, haunted houses, because I know that is not going to happen to me because I do not have said object or I do not live in said house. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a little bit weird, I know, but it is what it is. But right now, I'm just in a very good place and I absolutely fell in love with it. I am so interested in horror. I love listening to horror podcasts. For example, I really like listening to the Tape Library. I just think his channel is amazing. I also do like listening to Unexpected Encounters because that one is a little bit more fun, And that's why I really wanted to read this book in particular, because it discusses why we love horror as human beings. Why do we like the scary things? Why do we like the strange, tales and the strange creatures and just the gore of it all? And I kind of want to know why, because I've always, like I said, I've always been drawn to it. I was just too scared to consume the content. But right now, I'm in a really good place with horror. I am not that afraid. And let's just hope that by me saying this, nothing bad will happen to me, okay? I do not want anything here, okay? Just because I'm not scared doesn't mean I want something to happen in my life. So I am very excited for this one. I haven't heard too many things about this, so if you have read this book, if you have seen it around, please let me know down in the comments anything about this book because I am quite curious. And that is it for this video, guys. I know it was shorter because, like I said, I didn't read that much, and I do have already some books to discuss in next month's wrap up, which is literally this month. It's April, just by the end of the month. But please let me know down in the comments below, what books did you read in March? Did you have a favorite one? What books are you planning to read in April? Have you read any of the books that I've read in March, or any of the books that I do want to read in April? Let me know down in the comments below all of your opinions because I am nosy and I would like to know them. And please don't forget to subscribe and like this video because it does help my channel out a lot and it gives me a lot of motivation and validation to continue filming these videos for you guys. And I will see you on my next video. Bye!